that they've been preferred against some of us and me, as was the case with the first appearance last year. Large crowds of members of the African National Congress and South Africans from all walks of life voluntarily came here to Mangaung to show their support and solidarity. I'm sure all of us were hugely grateful for the spontaneous support and incredible comradeship. And last year, after my first appearance, I was able to address the comrades who gathered in their numbers. And it was possible to thank comrades in person. Unfortunately, today it was not possible to address everyone who came because of the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic and the resultant level of level 3 restrictions and protocols. And we just wanted to show that we have to lead by example by making sure that we encourage South African public to behave in a particular way, to always respect the restrictions and protocols, sanitize. I was impressed that I saw a lot of people wearing masks. And the crowd that gathered today, even under these lockdown restrictions, seems to have done everything possible to comply. It's important that in all our actions we prioritize saving lives of all South Africans, regardless of conditions or circumstances we find ourselves in. After all, humanity must strive, after all. I want to thank everyone, inclusive of ordinary community members, our faith-based formations. I saw a lot of faith organizations, a lot of leaders and members of our organization, the African National Congress, that came out to show support at our appearance today. And I don't take this for granted and fully appreciate the mature and responsible manner in which they handled this challenging situation. I was more humbled and encouraged by the display of comradeship and the displayed belief in the supreme law of our land, that all of us are presumed innocent until proven otherwise by a competent court of law. A real universal principle, and I'm sure all over the world you can see it. You can go even to Israel. The Prime Minister of Israel is in court, but he's still the Prime Minister because he's presumed innocent until proven otherwise by a competent court of law. I also welcome the calm and effective way in which our law enforcement agencies today handle the whole situation, giving everyone who came this time around the most deserving dignity. Both communities, members who were here, leaders who were here, the police, I think they deserve to be given this time around. I think they behaved properly, and our membership from all over the country, there was no single province which was not here, no single region which was not here. When the whole matter against me is concluded, history will certainly absolve some of us, and at that point I will be able to express myself to the public. I have by all means avoided the obvious temptation to speak about the merits and demerits of the ongoing case, because I'm sure you know by now that the indictment is voluminous, and the lawyers are actually looking at that, and we are studying everything. This is all because I respect our courts, and I always take counsel from my competent legal team. If it was me, I will just talk, but from time to time, legal practitioners have to advise us. I will not comment further about the charges preferred against me, except to say, I think the story which was pumped in the morning was that there are new charges added. There are no charges added, as the spokesperson of MPA was saying. It's the same charges, and I'm sure we could, at a later stage, circulate the charges, and it's for you to inform the public of South Africa properly and honestly so. I will not comment further about the charges preferred against me. My legal team is going to ventilate on all those issues. Suffice to say that the criminal justice system in our country must be of the highest repute and deal with corruption in an absolute fair and even-handed manner. That's our call, that's our plea. Any hint of selective morality to the application of the rule of law and justice or abuse of the legal system in our judiciary must indeed be avoided at all and every cost. All peace-loving South Africans must all time stand on the right side of the law, and when so accused of any wrongdoing, be accorded a fair and just hearing. We should not be judged in the public opinion by the public or by the media. The courts must legitimately act to protect, uphold, and preserve the rights of everyone, regardless of their station and position in society. Justice must at all times be seen to be done. And I think the story which was pumped also by the spokesperson of MPA is that they wanted the case to get in quick. We were ready for the case, and you can see that we have a lot of accused. We have many and different lawyers representing us, and we were ready from May, June, July, but there were lawyers who were not available because they have other cases to deal with. And therefore, I think the case was agreed. It was agreed upon that the case must be in August as a pre-trial. Nothing can be further from the truth, despite our serious concern about why we have been charged and I'm attending the court hearings. It is also in this context that we may never undermine the constitutional tenets that every citizen has a right to be deemed innocent until proven guilty by a properly constituted, competent court of law. This right is not negotiable, and it may never be compromised, and it is indeed enshrined in our Constitution, in the Bill of Rights. That's what we have struggled for during the years of struggle against apartheid colonialism. We conclude by rededicating ourselves to the seminal task of the ANC, namely to be at the service of our people and to ensure that we empower our people to scale the demanding heights of our economy. As we have seen today again, COVID-19 poses many challenges to us, which makes the achievement of freedom and justice for all our people even more difficult. No matter how steep the mountains that we have to climb, we'll never give up. Of course, forward we go, backwards never. We have not joined the liberation struggle in the service of ourselves, but in the service of our people. Indeed, this is a very short statement, and we just wanted to say to all South Africans from all over South Africa, all the corners, that wherever you are, respect the regulations. Wherever you are, sanitize. Wherever you are, think about those who don't have food, because the challenges of hunger and poverty and unemployment are real today. The challenges of black business dying or businesses dying, it's a real thing today. And that's why we want to say the struggle continues until everyone in South Africa, especially the working class and the poor, the marginalized, are actually covered. this is what our short statement is all about. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. I'm going to take this opportunity to thank members of the media for having made time to come and hear our SG. This effectively brings us at the end of our briefing. Once more, we want to thank you for having made time to come and cover and be able to give our people a perspective out there. The SG did say that when the case is done, no, we have closed the brief. We're closing the briefing.
Sorry, hold on.
No, can I just? Okay, that's fine. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I think journalists need to appreciate this. When we issue media invite, we know exactly what we want addressed in those briefings.
Fair.
So the SG has addressed issues that relate to the ongoing case. You are welcomed to raise any other issue, seeing that we have indeed issued the NEC statement during the week.
Yes.
You may want to just be updated on the work of the African National Congress. It is not every day that journalists tend to sit with the Secretary General of the African National Congress. I'll just allow one round of questions because the SG has agreed, because when you raised your voice, you said you also want to know about other matters.
We do want to know about other things.
Okay, no, that's fine. We have got...
I didn't know that journalists can also protest there.
No, they do all the time. They are living there with me, Shem. They protest every day. Because, I mean, we can do the Nkanda style. You know, so they know the Nkanda style. So you mustn't take... Yes. We're feeling for diesel here. So that's fine. We'll take the hands. Because it's only one round, it's going to be important that you just raise your hand. Even if you have not constructed your question, you might think when they're busy asking your colleagues. Okay, Samke Lord CD, Spamandla. Okay, Pule, Lizega. She's now with the Mail and Guardian SG. So probably what she's writing will come out next week or online. So, okay, no, you can start. But just to appeal to members of the media, if your question has been asked, okay. Samgi?
Thank you very much. Mr. Magashule, on a separate issue, we saw the Minister of Police, General Pegitele, going to Uganda. Was he mandated by the African National Congress leadership, the top six, to go and engage with the former president? What were the content of the engagement with the former president? Was there no conflation between party and state? Because the spokesperson of the minister said that Pegitele would then report back to the leadership of the ANC on his meeting with the former president, but he was using state resources to go there. And also, on the issue of the supporters that came to support you here in court, who paid for those buses and those taxis to ferry those people to Bloemfontein, knowing very well that they are breaking lockdown regulations of the Disaster Management Act instituted by the very same government which you effectively oversee as the Secretary General of the African National Congress? Thank you.
Thank you. TD Madia from Eyewitness News. The first question is actually in relation to the people who came out to support you today. I know you're saying that you didn't address them because of COVID protocols, but as you know, programs planned well ahead of time regarding these particular individuals. Why is it that it seems that you didn't step in then to say, actually, don't have people come? People from this province even were helping to organize people. While on one side saying don't come, COVID, they were organizing people. We were seeing programs, we were posting programs on social media. Why did you not speak to that? Secondly, I want to ask you about the step aside resolution, the guidelines that were adopted over the past weekend. Your personal view on where does that take the ANC and what does that mean for people facing serious allegations? I mean, now you spoke about Benjamin Netanyahu, so it'll be interesting just to hear your say. And also back to the step aside resolution guidelines rather. Some people in the ANC seem to be of the belief that it must go to branches to have a say, wider consultation. But one would argue branches have given that authority to the NEC. that there is no need for those calls. Just your reaction to that. Thank you.
Sipamandla Boke from ANC, partly covered, but SG, on the issue of the Zondo Commission and former President Jacob Zuma, the NEC discussed the matter of the Zondo Commission and said all ANC members must respect and support the work of the Commission. You have previously said that you've seen nothing wrong with what the former President has done. After the NEC meeting with its resolution, you still maintain that position. Your supporters want you to be the president in 2022 of the ANC. Of course, they will tell us that that discussion is not open yet. Will you come out and condemn them for their call?
SG Puleli Treaty Jones from Meeting News and Sports. Just a quick question. What's your remarks on Minister Pravin Gordhan having to also join the call for you to step aside from the ANC? And two, just reiterate what colleagues have just said, would you say that you're losing support, especially Mangaung, where one of the co-accused, Ole Namedi, is also on the indictment, in terms of the community members of Mafora refusing to actually be part of the crowd to come today in the support ahead of your court case?
SG Lisa Gatandwa, Mail and Guardian. I've partly been covered, but I wanted to speak to you wanted to ask you regarding your statement now, where you speak about presumed innocent until presumed otherwise, and you say that you'll be history will absolve you. And you also touch on the Prime Minister of Israel and how he is still the Prime Minister even though he's going through a court case. Does this signal that in a month's time, when the top six, the NWC and whomever, when they decide on the Integrity Commission or the Integrity Committee's recommendations, does this signal that you will not step aside? Have you decided, do you realize that you have to step aside, and what is your decision at this point? SG, also, party regalia has been worn by leaders of the party in and around this court appearance. We see party regalia behind you right now, and there was a resolution by the ANC's NEC that any member or any supporter of an individual who is going to court cannot wear party regalia. Are you not going against your own resolutions?
Okay, are we done?
No, it's me. Thank you. The political questions have been asked by the colleagues. SG, one of the accused who appeared in court today is your, let's say, former head of legal services, Mr. Albertus Fenton, and the NPA argues that he is the one who is the link between you and some of the accused in this case. What is your attitude to that? Does this not worry you? And secondly, the case, the NPA also argues that, in fact, the case is built on the understanding that you as Premier took a decision to ring-fence tenders in this province, where major tenders were handled or were decided upon at the Premier's office. Can you explain perhaps to us, maybe for our own understanding, as to why was this necessary to do?
Okay. Thank you very much. The SG will answer, but just to cushion, clearly the questions you are asking relate to the ongoing court case. So I thought that, but it's fine. The SG will use his prerogative, because if there are questions that really have got to do with the merits and demerits of the case, we might not be able to ventilate on those. But that's fine. The SG will use his prerogative.
Well, let me not talk about allegations because fortunately we'll be in a court of law. I have said I am innocent until proven otherwise. I am speaking with confidence just that during my term there is nothing untoward. There was no wrongdoing. There was no corruption during my term. It's for the court of law to judge otherwise. And therefore, I don't want to get into the space of whether tenders ring-fenced or not, because there's no such a thing completely. There's no any person a link between me and whatever accused, and that's why I'm sure people have been charged. and let's wait and prove in court our innocence. And it is not true. You know, Free State is my home. And I've said to you, I can go to any part of the Free State, any community, be it Mafura or anywhere. And maybe one day we must walk in this province and go to each and every town, which I know each and every town. I know streets in these towns. I know people. I know what we have done as government during our term as a collective. And therefore, it might not be true, but in South Africa, we also have our rights. We have freedom of movement, of association, freedom to choose, freedom not to do this and that. Those are the basic rights we have actually fought for. In terms of ANC supporters wearing regalia, no, that decision was long changed because this regalia belongs to me. And that's why I'm sure any member of the ANC is allowed, he or she. We did so during the President Jacob Zuma's trial when she was attending court. And later on, the National Executive Committee changed that decision to allow anybody to wear it is their T-shirts. It is, and the issue of the regalia was long solved. I've seen people from almost all regions, and I've seen leaders. You may say they've come in their own individual rights, but I've seen members of the entire branch executive committee where I come from. I've seen regional executive committees. I've seen members of the PECs. I've seen members of the National Executive Committee. Collectively, they may not say Pule is not representing the National Executive Committee, but the ANC has allowed anybody, any leader, any member, any supporter, any community member to exercise their rights of free movement, their rights of association, their right to support whoever they want to support. It's a right we have actually fought for. So those supporters and all those people, there's nothing wrong for wearing the regalia of the ANC if they so chose. So the universal principle of innocence until proven guilty by a competent court of law is universal. Maybe I cited somebody, but I was just trying to show you that in the whole universe, in the whole world, this principle is fundamental. And those who have fought for freedom and justice will never turn away from this principle because it is a fundamental principle of our rights as citizens. In terms of the respect for, and there is no commission called Zondo Commission. It's the media which has given this a title called Zondo Commission. The commission is called the Commission of Inquiry. It's into alleged state capture. It's a commission of inquiry. And therefore, in terms of what my understanding, President Zuma said he won't appear before. He will go to the commission. He was actually asking Chief Justice Zondo to recuse himself. And I think he followed the legal processes of going to court. And I'm sure everyone is allowed to exercise their rights in South Africa.
Yes, SG, just to clarify, SG, there are deaf viewers who are complaining that because you are wearing your mask, they cannot read your lips.
Or they want to read my lips.
So that they are able to follow through the story. So we've got to accommodate everyone. So I'm sorry I had to come in because that's a very important constituency. And the fact that they are all watching this means that we've got to give them that kind of regard.
You know, I can't stop people from going wherever they want to go. I think my province, the Provincial Executive Committee, took a decision, and I'm sure you have seen it. They were trying to say, people, please don't come. It's those people who decided to come. You can't stop them. I was not part of any plan where we set and plan and say, this ones must come, this ones must come. People are here. And I think that's why I wanted to appreciate, and through the media, appreciate and thank all those South Africans from all walks of life, all those faith-based organizations, NGOs, MPOs, from all over the country. I just wanted to use this opportunity to thank them, because when people support you, when they appreciate, you also have to appreciate them. Who paid for them? I don't know. I always attend cases whenever there are cases. If Comrade President Zuma appears in court, I will be there. Are you going to ask who paid for my trip? I'll pay for myself. So, no, the issue of the Minister of Police, Comrade Bheki Cele, I don't know whether he went there as a Minister of Police. I can't say he abused state resources, because he's a Minister of Police. You can't separate him from a leader of the ANC, a Minister of Police. The position he's holding is the Minister of Police. As to what he went to talk to President Zuma about, I'm not privy to those discussions. What I know that as the top six, the National Executive Committee has mandated us, and we have interacted with President Zuma to have an engagement, a meeting, which all of us, we have been actually looking forward to have. So that meeting will take place. I'm sure once all the necessary arrangements are made, we will inform you that such a meeting will actually take place. That's the meeting which is necessary and important for the ANC. And that's why we are making a plea and a call to all South Africans. And I think the media has played its role to inform the South Africans about the events surrounding the case. I'm very certain that the victory is certain, and the truth shall prevail. Let's wait for this court to be finished, because that's what we have said. We want our names not to be tarnished. We want to prove our innocence so that people can believe in us.
No, I'm coming.
Which one, Lizeka?
I'm coming, Lizeka.
It prompted,
Lizeka.
will you step aside?
Lizeka, I'm coming.
Okay.
Because it's not just her.
Let's step aside.
Yes. Pule from. But we said that they will use prerogative. I don't know how to
Yeah, I respect the prerogative, but
Okay.
you can say you don't want to answer questions.
On the step aside, the National Executive Committee of the ANC has taken a clear decision to refer the guidelines to the structures of the ANC, from branches, regions, and provinces. And our structures, the basic units, will actually discuss those matters. And that's why we have taken them there. Remember, the highest decision-making body is the National Executive Committee, which appoints people, which elect leaders. And if you have to do certain things, you have to go back and further get the mandate from those structures, the original structures of the ANC, the basic unit, the branch. So this process has been taken down to the ground. I don't know what the ground will say. I can't preempt them. The reports will be consolidated back to the National Executive Committee. I'm sure in terms of this step aside guidelines, I've responded to this question.
Okay, no, that's okay, colleagues.
You did not.
But can I come in? Can I come in and clarify, members of the media, and just remind members of the media that when answers are given, they are given to our own understanding in the organization, not according to the way that they might want answers given. So it's very important. Yes, TD, we're going to have a dialogue.
It's TD.
It's a SPA. I think they must start taking example from you. I like how you don't speak when we're on the floor. It's really encouraging. It's really encouraging. We're going to start with you. Okay. So you'll get the first spot, TD, and then Samkelo will close. Okay, Sbu will close.
Secretary General did not respond to my question about his supporters calling for him to become the president in 2020. That was the question. Magashule 2022. You forgot to answer it.
They are wrong because leaders at the conferences of the ANC are elected by duly delegated members of the ANC. Leaders are not elected at a mass meeting. Leaders are actually elected at the conference by delegates, not supporters. There is no anything we are supposed to be. We are not dealing with any conference for now. The president of the ANC, elected at Nazareth, is Comrade Cyril, together with the entire National Executive Committee. So there is no discussion of leadership. The masses are the masses. Supporters are supporters. They can say whatever. The people who decide leadership of the ANC are usually delegated members of the ANC at the right time when processes of conferences start. We are far from that. We are not discussing any leadership. I'm not interested in any position. For now, I'm the Secretary General of the ANC. And there is a president and the other top six and the National Executive Committee collective.
Okay, or else you will take all the questions, then you can answer at once. We've got CD, we've got Samkelo, we've got Lizeka, Pule, and Slu.
Shouldn't we take them one so that it is not
Yeah.
satisfied?
I like
with
this
saying,
one thing.
That's like
CD, we're going to be advertising job for posts. Okay, CD, you can come in.
Thank you. You speak about the basic unit and how the step-aside guidelines are going to go back to the branches. And I still say, at your conferences, your delegates, your branches, your basic unit, it takes the authority and puts it in the hands of the 80-plus NEC members. It entrusts them to make the decisions that are best for the party in between conferences. Is that not enough? When you say we'll go to structures and the likes regarding step-aside, was it not enough that this was delegated to the NEC to deal with?
There are certain resolutions of the National Conference which we can't change. We are not empowered to change some of the mandated positions. There are clearly mandated positions which we cannot change. There are resolutions we cannot change. We are not, as the National Executive Committee, the National Conference. So the National Conference is the highest decision-making body. In between, there are certain powers we can exercise. There are certain things we cannot actually do.
Okay.
Mr. Magashule, something again from SABC. So just to get clarity, the Minister of Police was not sent by the ANC to meet the former president, as said by the Minister's spokesperson, that the engagement was endorsed and was sanctioned by the national officials of the government prior to go and meet former President J.T. Zuma at Kwatamadulisa. So was it not? And then lastly, on the issues of those who are saying you must avail yourself for the position of president of the ANC, at that point in time, when those leadership positions were, would you be available to lead the ANC?
Maybe I should not even preempt. That's not how I am schooled in the African National Congress. I respect the processes of the ANC from the time I joined the African National Congress. I did not join it when I was 5 years, like somebody who said to me, the commission, I joined the ANC at 5 years. It's highly impossible. You can't join the ANC at the age of 5. So let me not enter that space. Number two, I haven't yet the spokesperson of Minister Begikele, so I don't want to get into that space because I haven't yet what I hear what you are saying. I'm saying I'm Secretary General of the ANC, and I have personally consulted and contacted President Zuma to arrange a meeting with us as top six.
SG, just two questions from me, and it's one is on the clause. I think it's clause 25.5U, which speaks to the buying of votes, or rather using money to influence a conference. What happened to that clause? How did it miraculously disappear from your constitution as the ANC? Saying that you are the SG, can you just inform us what happened? Also, SG, you speak about the branches as if this resolution has not been adopted by the NEC, the step-aside resolution. It has been adopted.
Have you read it?
Has it not been
10
adopted?
points. Have you read that?
Has it not been adopted, SG?
Have you read the 10 points?
I've read the 10 points.
Yeah.
Has it not been adopted?
The step aside.
Yes.
In the constitution of the ANC, there is interpretation of words. What does a preamble mean? What does a member mean? What does is there any meaning of a step aside in the constitution of the ANC? It's a rhetorical question, so I'm posing it for you to think.
But I think SG, the resolution was reinforced, or actually made clear at the 2017 conference. It may have been vague in 2012, but I think in 2017 it was quite clear in terms of what it says about members who are accused of corruption.
Cite it for me so that I can agree with you.
I'll find it.
Find the constitution, you have it there.
Actually, what's your take on a group of ANC members, including the likes of Nkosi Tukwana, who are challenging the Provincial Executive Committee and the constitutionality of it before the Apex Court, saying the BGMs were illegally constituted?
And then what happened?
They are challenging that, and what's your take on it?
South Africans have rights. And the Ramagata Constitutional Court of Ramagata versus Magashule and the ANC Free State, the court actually said members of the ANC and the constitution of the ANC is not above the constitution of South Africa. That is the argument even today, that the constitution of South Africa is the supreme. There is no any sub-constitution of any political party which actually reigns supreme to the national constitution of the land. And hence our arguments all the time to say our rights in the bill, in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of South Africa. So Tukwana and the rest have their rights to do anything, to say anything. We have given them, we have never fought them, we have allowed them that space.
Has this now become more of a bittersweet relationship between your former brother or Alan?
No, he has never been my former brother. He has been a comrade, and I've always respected him. I still respect him as a person, and he can shout how many times. It's up to him to do so.
SG, can you please answer
judge
this?
For themselves.
SG, can you please answer, respond to it? Because the nation wants to know.
Yeah.
If prompted to step aside, will you step aside?
No. I'm a disciplined member of the ANC. The National Executive Committee of the ANC has taken this matter to branches.
SG, you
So that's the last hand, and then we're closing. No, it's not going to be possible. We can't go on and on like this.
Okay, cool.
We need to have order in the briefings of the ANC. Can you come in?
SG, I'm sure you know what the resolution said, but since you asked that I cited, I can just read through it. That the conference resolves that the 2015 NGC resolutions plus other existing and new measures are implemented urgently by the NEC and PECs too, and I'll go to the points that are I think are relevant to you. Demand that every cadre accused of or reported to be involved in corrupt practices accounts to the Integrity Committee immediately or faces DC processes. And point number 3 says that NEC and the PECs should summarily suspend people who fail to give an acceptable explanation or to voluntarily step down while they face disciplinary, investigative, and prosecutorial processes. I think it's quite
Go down. There are 10 points.
Let me continue, SG. But I wanted to go to those particular ones that are clear, which I think this is a question.
When you deal with the law, you don't read subsection A and you leave the whole context.
Which one do you want me to go to here?
One, up to 10. There are 10 points under fighting crime and corruption.
I think you do know what
No.
this resolution says.
No, go down there. Talking about the South African and the respect for the rule of law.
Of course, it does say that the ANC
So-
should respect the constitution of the country
So-
and the rule of law and ensure that we get the best possible legal advice in government to ensure our compliance wherever possible rather than waiting to defend those who stray.
And the best legal opinion is what we got. And that's why these processes are taken back to the structures of the ANC.
But the ANC's NEC did say
But
that the ANC is a voluntary organization in that it has its own rules, it has its own constitution by which every member voluntarily agrees
But
to
we are
abide
going
by.
to argue, and I'm referring you to the Makatsa versus Magashule in the Constitutional Court, which is the highest decision-making body in terms of the law in 2012.
Let me ask you this question, SG. You made reference to the Israeli Prime Minister. And now we know the ANC's attitude in the Middle East conflict in terms of its support for Palestine, the state of Palestine. And I'm sure you were using that example in reference to the point that Benjamin Netanyahu is facing charges in court, but he's still Prime Minister, which by extension and by everyone's interpretation means that you are saying that there is nothing wrong with you continuing as SG while you are facing charges. Hence, you are referencing that point.
Yeah.
And one, that's the first point. Secondly, I'm sure some of your fraternal organizations and alliance partners, that comparison may not sit well, given how the ANC's views the state of Israel. Do you not think that perhaps it's a bit desperate on
Maybe
your part to reference Netanyahu?
Maybe I gave you a wrong reference because I don't support Israel, I don't support Netanyahu. I was just talking about the principle, the universal principle. Let's forget about Netanyahu because I do support the struggle of the Palestinian people.
Okay. No. Thank you very much, members of the media. Thanks a lot. I'm sure that you have had enough to write home about. This now brings us to the end of our briefing. I know that at SG it's important to also address this point, that the clarity provided by the Secretary General of the ANC following his own appearance in court is to make sure that we do not have different messages being driven out there. It accords the SG an opportunity to clarify the ongoing processes and make sure that the leadership of the ANC and its unity stay intact. Thank you very much.
You see, I wanted to tell them that when there were PPEs, there was a lot of media after SIU released the reports on PPEs. You are quiet, yes.
Are we?
Which
You are
media?
quiet.
No, that's not true.
Our children, our children were mentioned.
Oh, sorry.
That's not true.
What have you
That's not
said?
true.
What have you said about our children doing
What do
business?
you mean? What have you said?
You haven't said
You and I had to
anything.
sit down and have the conversation.
Okay, no, thank you very much.
You are running away now.
We gave you a lot of time. Are you going to the sort of commission soon?
Ipi kama. Kalo, kesal dia aku deh.